Whoa, buddy. Put that thing back in its holster. We haven't gone anywhere.
I don't understand.
Check out themichaeldukesshow.com for information on how to get access to the podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal.
The Michael Dukes Show.
I have 2 guns, one for each of you.
Firearms Friday.
As Thomas Jefferson stated, it is the right and duty of the people to be at all times armed.
Say hello to my little friend.
I say that the Second Amendment is, in order of importance, the First Amendment. The right to keep and bear arms is the one right that allows rights to exist at all.
The Michael Dukes Show. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Firearms.
From my cold, dead hands.
Friday.
Take my rifle, this is my gun, this is for fun, this is for fun.
Firearms Friday.
That's right. Firearms Friday, your chance to sound off on issues of a 2A nature right here on the Michael Dukes Show, broadcasting live across the state of Alaska on this, your favorite radio station and or FM translator, and live around the world on the internet as well at michaeldukesshow.com, where you'll find links to the audio-only live stream as well as our social media sites, including Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble, and so much more. It's good to have you with us here on this Friday. I mean, I don't know how we got to Friday already. It's been, can I sidebar already? Let me sidebar already. It's been almost a year since we took over the radio stations down here on the peninsula. And it's been a whirlwind, an absolute whirlwind to get here. I can't believe it. And just seems like the summer flew right along, and every week just clacks right along on the tracks even farther and faster. We are officially, what are we? 19 days away from Christmas Eve. 19 days here. So we're under 3 weeks away from Christmas Eve, and we are ready to go. Which reminds me, just a quick reminder, as always, I will be taking, I always take off, well, I guess I did not all, for the last 12 years, 15 years, I have taken off the time off the air between Christmas and New Year's. Because there's just nobody wants to talk about politics or anything else, in those times. There's just nothing happens, right? There's just it's a struggle bus to get through everything because there's just not enough interesting political stuff to go on. And quite honestly, most of us are just wore out. We're just like, we've done this for the whole year and we don't need any more. So that last week or so is just, it's enough. So I will be on hiatus. The show will be on hiatus from December 22nd, and we'll be returning to the airwaves on Monday, January the 5th. Normally we come back on the 2nd, but the 2nd's a Friday, and it's just one single day, and it just didn't seem like it made any sense because, I think everybody's going to try and turn that into a 4-day weekend, with New Year's Day being on a Thursday. New Year's Day being on a Thursday, and then the 2nd, and then the weekend. I think everybody's going to try and turn it into a 4-day weekend. So it's going to be it's good. So from the 22nd to the 5th, we will be doing our thing, and which is probably a lot of nothing. It'll be a staycation. I'll have my feet up on the couch for half the day as we go in through that and do that. That'll be fun stuff. All right. So what else have we got? We got a massive amount of winter storm warnings and winter watches and weather alerts for across the state. most of them in areas outside of the broadcast area here today, with the exception of the Denali Borough. They got blizzard conditions expected in the Denali Borough. Total accumulations of up to an inch and gusting winds up to 45 miles an hour. The wind chills expected to be 55 below. Somebody sent me, Rob Meyer sent me he sent me a little clip of the weather forecast for the interior. And he can keep all that to himself. Weather forecast yesterday for the North Pole area. They're saying it's going to be 36 below by Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. So we went from, 20 above to 36 below by next Wednesday. And you can just keep all that to yourself. All right. I'm just saying that right now. Just keeping that all to yourself. What else we got? The Matsu Borough also saying that there is a blizzard possible. This is in the northern parts up towards the Denali Borough with Broad Pass or Richardson Highway sometimes, and then out east towards Paxson and Gacona and everything else. It's going to be cold. The combination of wind and falling temperatures will result in wind chill values as low as 25 below through Broad Pass and 40 below across the far northern Copper River Basin. And then out in the Aleutians, by Unalaska, where we're broadcasting out in Unalaska, blowing snow, wind gusts up to 55, could be 4 inches of snow from noon Saturday to 9 a.m. Sunday. And then in the Matsu Borough proper, 4 to 12 inches of snow. Again, mostly happening towards the Glen Allen area, but so there's some weather going in out there as well. Today is Firearms Friday, so we're going to deal with some firearms issues. We got some headlines. Most importantly, I guess first and foremost, we're going to take your calls today. And so the number to call is 319-527-3864. Phone lines are open right now if you want to sound off on that. But before we dive too far and too deep into the headlines, I wanted to I'm feeling Christmassy, baby. I'm feeling Christmassy. And we did a thing. We started working here locally with our friends at the Porcupine Theater, which is a little single screen theater down here in Homer. They are some amazing folks down there. They do a lot of stuff for the community, and it's great to be able to have an outlet where we can go and enjoy something on the big screen. They do a lot of second run movies and everything else. Well, they're doing a whole Christmas themed time. And the radio stations here got involved. And I know you folks in Fairbanks probably don't care about this, but I just wanted to share it with everybody because I'm excited about it. One of our favorite Christmas movies, and we were just thinking about this, 30 plus years. That's how long ago. My wife and I were just talking yesterday. Our oldest daughter, who is now married with a 8-year-old daughter, she was a babe in arms when we went to watch this movie, and we are so excited. We are so excited as a family and as a radio station to be able to sponsor and bring to the community one of our favorite movies of all time for Christmas.
Coming Sunday, December the 21st, to the Porcupine Theater.
The radio station is proud to present a Christmas classic.
The Marleys were dead to begin with.
Oh, pardon me?
That's how the story begins, Rizzo. The Marleys were dead to begin with.
A Muppet Christmas Carol. This movie is one of our family's personal favorites for the holiday. For more than 30 years, we've enjoyed this fantastic Christmas tale filled with silliness, fun, and laughter.
If you please, Mr. Scrooge, it's gotten colder.
Yeah.
And the bookkeeping staff would like to have an extra shovel full of coal for the fire.
How would the bookkeepers like to be suddenly
unemployed?
Join our family and come see A Muppet Christmas Carol on the big screen at 1 p.m. on Sunday the 21st at the Porcupine. And for your chance to win a pair of tickets to the show, go to facebook.com/KGTLTheAnswer and leave a comment on our movie event page. The Muppet Christmas Carol, brought to you by the radio station. Merry Christmas. So we're excited about this. This is going to be a fun time to be able to get. I haven't seen that on the big screen in 30 years. And so it's a movie that we watch. We don't, Christmas is not happening until we get a chance to watch the Muppet Christmas Carol, which is hysterical. Okay. I mean, if you haven't seen it, and I know some of you are like, Muppets, what, it is so much fun. Sometimes they goes, I remember watching Muppet Treasure Island where Tim Curry plays Long John Silver in that movie, and he is as zany and crazy as the Muppets themselves, right? I mean, that's just how. But in this movie, it's like they told Michael Caine, "Hey, you're playing against Muppets, and so there's going to be some funny and some zaniness." And he's like, "I'm going to play this as serious as a car crash." I mean, he really is. He's like, "I'm going for an Oscar nod on this," and he just comes across so well. Anyway, it's exciting. It's fun to be able to do this kind of stuff. And I just wanted to share that with you. That's my piece of holiday joy, right? Is going to be able to do that. And so we are going to give away a pair of tickets to somebody down here on the peninsula who wants to participate here on the program. So we're giving them away on our Facebook page for the station, but also I kept one pair of tickets back for a listener here on the program, and who lives down in the peninsula and who's going to be able to get, because you got to come down to Homer. All right. You got to be able to do that. So I'm going to save those tickets, and we're going to give those away not next week, but the week after. And so I just wanted to give you the heads up and let you know that's would do it. And if you're in Fairbanks and you're willing to make the drive all the way to Homer, you can get in the running for the. Kim just said, "I'm a Fairbanks and I would love to see this." Okay, well, great. As long as you want to make that trek, you can do it. But I understand it's a fun time. But you know what? We got to take the joy where we can find it, my friends. We've got to take the joy where we can find it, and just learn to laugh, learn to enjoy that, and let a lot of this other stuff go. So anyway, you can buy your tickets if you're down here on the peninsula. You can buy your tickets. Just go to our Facebook page and click on the event, and you can follow the ticket link there. But if you want a free pair of tickets, you can, and you live on the peninsula, you can comment on the Facebook. Blah 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 blah. You can do all that stuff. It's all fun. And yeah, I know you can watch this at home on your screen. I know that, but it's something about watching movies on the big screen. Something about that's just kind of fun. I'm a huge fan of certain kinds of movies. I remember Big Trouble in Little China, one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite cult classic movies. And I finally got to take both of my boys. They were playing it in Wasilla at the Second Run Theater there. And we got a chance to go watch it on the big screen. And there's just something different about watching it on the big screen. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, well, that was a lot of housekeeping for the thing. And yes, of course, there's popcorn. It's a movie theater. What would a movie theater be without popcorn? In fact, there's popcorn and there's a food truck there all the time. A bento food truck, I think, is the food truck there. Whatever it is, there's always a good time. Always a good time. All right, so I got some headlines. What are some of the stories that we're going to cover this morning? Well, we've got the latest take on the DOJ on how they're playing 4D chess to defend the NFA. Now, I don't necessarily buy this, but we'll take a look at it. We've also got the new office that's coming into the Office of Civil Rights, the new outfit. I don't know if you've heard about this. It's called the Second Amendment section, and it's within the Office of Civil Rights. We're going to talk just a brief bit about that. We've got some anti-gun echo chamber going on. from researchers. We're also going to talk about the real true number and how those researchers always kind of skew the numbers as far as we're talking about like inflated numbers of mass shootings versus reality. Washington State has got some pushback going on right now on their assault weapons ban, which are just on its face is absolutely ridiculous. And what else I got here? The story of how a holster saved a gun. Remember, we always talk about the rule of three and how you got to get yourself a good holster and everything. Here's another reason why you need to have a good holster. We've got that story coming up as well. So, a lot of stuff, and the phone lines are open. What more could you ask for? It's Friday. Oh, and Willie Waffle will be joining us at the end of the show today. So it's Friday. I'm excited about it. It's Friday. Woo! And we went to the tree lighting last night downtown in Homer where they did the tree lighting. That was amazing. I gotta go. Let's get on with it. The Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free thinking radio. We return with more right after this.
If you missed the show, you can listen to it on your time with Dukes On Demand. Oh, and it's free. Like America used to be. Streaming live every weekday morning on Facebook Live and MichaelDukesShow.com.
Hi there. Oh there. Hey there. How are you? Just me and my 25 closest friends? How you guys doing this morning? You guys all well and good? You guys ready to go? Chris says, time to brave the 20 below temperatures to plug in my vehicle. Oh, you brave little lamb. 20 below. It's 35 degrees right now. And I am so happy about that. I talked to a lot of people last night at the tree lighting ceremony. And of course, we were inevitably talking about the weather. And I'm like, I love the weather. I mean, rainy, snowy, icy. Okay. Just don't give me 25 or 30 below and 12 feet of snow. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. Man, 20 below. Yeah, Fairbanks is going into a deep freeze for sure. 100%. Friday, 20 to 28 below today is the low going into next week. Tuesday, 28 to 36 below. Wednesday, 32 to 36 below. You guys, I love you all. You're all mad. I don't know why. Why would I even want to mess with? I mean, don't want to do it. Don't want to do it. Chris says 30 degrees in Seldovia today. A little cooler in Seldovia than I'm up on the hill. Usually I'm the cold one, but we're doing good. We're doing good. Oh man, I just feel so Christmassy. I just feel good. We've got the tree up. We don't have ornaments on it yet, but my daughter's been diligently working away. We got all the tree and the Christmas decorations up, and it just feels so freaking good. Just good. Bill's looking for snow and a dictionary. Snow and a dictionary. The Nutcracker this week in Fairbanks, says Alaskan Bullet Point. Okay, good deal. It's exciting. It's exciting. And Brian, if you're drinking Folgers, we have a problem. I'm just going to say, I'm just going to say that's what's going on. And Robert, I love how you just drop into the room when we're all talking about fun and you just immediately go to the geopolitical nuclear option of war crimes with China. I don't even know who Millie is. And I don't even care. That's the worst part. I just don't even care. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. A little half-inch of snow in Nilchik covered up that ice, gives you a little traction. That's not bad. Not bad. And today we're going to dive into some of this stuff here and start getting it. What else do we got here? There's a survey that Americans like armed communities better than disarmed communities. A new poll illustrates why they won't admit it, that they don't like guns, including a lot of self-described Democrats like having guns in their communities. It's a new poll that came out here last month. So just in case you were wondering. Oh man, this is some good stuff. Some good stuff here. We're going to get into all that as well. It's snowing. Oh, nice. It's snowing up on the old Sterling Highway up by where Bill is. Good for you. It's good for you. Are you saying that Fairbanks blows? Look, I love the people in Fairbanks. But everything else you can keep. That's all I'm saying. I mean, if I was, I don't want to besmirch my beloved old hometown, but no.
What the hell is an assault weapon? Does that mean that if we hurt your feelings, you should consider the Michael Dukes Show assault radio? Okay, we can accept that. Here's Michael Dukes. Kind of a dick, but somewhat funny.
Well, it is Christmas and it is Firearms Friday. I keep waiting for somebody to make the you'll shoot your eye out joke, the BB gun and A Christmas Story. Does anybody else remember? I've only seen that movie like twice or three times, maybe 2 or 3 times in my whole life. I know some people out there are like, that movie is a classic, that people just gotta, you'll shoot your eye out. And so, but for some people, that is a Christmas must-watch classic. And good for them. It's not one that I catch on my Christmas list every time, but it does have a gun theme, which I do. And because all that boy wanted was a Red Ryder BB gun, and not just any Red Ryder BB gun, but the whole shooting match of the deluxe, whatever. He just rips it off. That's what he wants. He names it off every time. The Red Ryder BB gun. I remember those days. Didn't that actor grow up to be Dan Crenshaw? For those of you who don't know, Dan Crenshaw is the congressman who's got the eye patch with the, he's the Navy's former Navy SEAL, I think, or former Special Forces of some kind. Anyway, he's missing an eye. And so that was the joke of you'll shoot your eye out. But I mean, that was back when, kids were, that was back in my youth, back when I was a youth. When it was okay to ask for a Red Ryder BB gun or a pellet gun. I'm sure they're still available. They're just not the hot sellers that every boy in the neighborhood had to have, right? Because we've come to a kindler and gentler time where we don't get to choose the the method of our destruction or whatever it is. Anyway, it's going to go. And now Brittany's asking about the recipe contest. I was going to get up early and put it up this morning, but I didn't. I slept in just a little bit this morning, too long. The recipe contest will be up on Monday. Okay. So, all right, let me get into the stories before I sidetrack this whole show again. This is what happens near the end of the year. This is it right here. This is what happens at the end of the year. I get a little bit jaded and tired of the whole political thing, and then I start wandering on the air. We don't need that. Anyway, some good news. Let me give you some good gun news. And I think this is a very, very interesting take, because all you ever hear of in the news media is how bad things are, how every American wants gun control, every this, every that, But then you also get all the anti-gunners who say, no one wants to ban all guns. We're not here for your gun. I mean, of course, then they get caught off camera or something else saying exactly that. Or in some cases, they just say it like outright, right? That they say the quiet part out loud. They're not coming for your guns. And then, of course, after, or we're only coming after certain guns, but certainly not your hunting rifles. And then, of course, we had the tragedy with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, who was killed with, the quintessential hunting rifle. And so now now you're seeing some of that. But overall, they just don't like guns. They don't like that you can have them. And they basically want them all to magically disappear, because let's face it, that is what that's the fantasy. The fantasy is that they can pass a certain law and make the guns just vaporize, just disappear. Now, regardless of the fact that hasn't happened anywhere at any time, right? England banned guns. They've still got gun crime problem there. They always hold up Australia. We should do what Australia did. Australia has had a huge problem with armed gangs and criminals with firearms. Of course, one of the biggest ones that always got my attention was the Charlie Hebdo massacre in France. Because France has outlawed guns for decades, and yet these guys all showed up with AK-47s and so it's not like just because you make a law, it's going to stop bad people from doing bad things. That, it's a fantasy again. But they still have that fantasy. Gabby Givers is quoted as saying, "No more guns," right? But there's a new poll that illustrates what they won't admit, that a lot of Americans, including self-described Democrats, like having guns in their community. In fact, Americans like armed communities. For most of them, it makes them feel safer. This is from the Liberty Nation. It says, with so many laws on the books regulating gun ownership and enforcing a myriad of gun control measures, it's more than a little surprising that Americans prefer law-abiding citizens be allowed to have firearms in their neighborhoods. This includes those who identify as Democrats. It's a new survey conducted by Neapolitan News Service. And this is a great... then reveals that 53% of voters prefer to live in a community where people are allowed to own guns, while only 38% say they would prefer to live in a place where guns are outlawed. That includes 76% of those who identify as Republican and 63% of Democrats. 63% of these... Look, folks, all of these folks are not your enemy, okay? Those folks who identify as Democrats, they're not all your enemy. You act like, every one of them is, that party is doing some of its own self-destructive behavior, right? Some of their mainstream people are creeping more and more to the left. But the bottom line is 63% of Democrats would prefer to live in communities where people, law-abiding citizens, are allowed to own guns. As far as gender goes, by almost a 2-to-1 margin, men say they want to live in an area where their friends and neighbors are allowed to own guns. Women appear to, however, have mixed feelings, with 44% saying they prefer to have firearms allowed. 43% want to live in locations where, 44% prefer to have firearms outlawed. 43% of women want to live in a location where guns are allowed. Which, again, is another thing that I just have never understood as a woman. And maybe the phone lines are open today. So if you're a lady who's stumbled across Firearms Friday, or you've listened to Firearms Friday for a long time, and, maybe you never called in, I want to know your take on this as a woman. Not that I'm a woman, as you're a woman. 319-527-3864. This is always given me heartburn. As a woman, why wouldn't you want the ability to arm yourself, right? I mean, we hear about all these stupid things like the man versus bear thing, right? Like, if you're a woman and you're trapped in the wilderness, would you rather be trapped with a man or with a bear? And they're all like, I'd choose the bear. And I'm like, what? Men are unsafe and everything. You would think that these people that answer the questions like that, I couldn't possibly be stuck in the woods alone with a man. I'd much rather be with a bear. I mean, yeah, 100% of the time you're going to get eaten by the bear, but no big deal. I've never understood why they would not be one of the most vehement, prominent voices for gun rights. Because if ladies, if you want an equalizer, if you are so worried about man v. bear, if you are so worried that men are just problematic, right? Or all the things that we see in today's society about how, women just don't feel safe with men. I mean, this is an ongoing thing. I'm not making this up. If you may be on your own little corner of the internet, it's not a big deal, but I look at the internet as a whole, and my God, I mean, the man v. bear thing is kind of a funny way, but it shows you the overall feel. If that is you, if these women truly are terrified of the possibility of being stuck alone in a place with a man, then why wouldn't those women be the most ardent defenders of the right to keep and bear arms? I mean, if you weigh $120 and you're going to go up against some guy who's 200 pounds, 180, 200, 250 pounds, wouldn't you want the greatest equalizer in the world? A handgun. Now, again, you're properly trained. You got to do all the thing, all that caveats with it. But wouldn't you be the most ardent supporter of that in the world? And yet this survey says 44% prefer to have firearms outlawed. 43% of women want to live in a location where guns are allowed. In the final tally of all this, in this survey, when asked about gun violence and so-called mass shootings, and of course the question is then, and we're going to get into this in a little bit, how do you define mass shootings? But in the gun violence and so-called mass shootings, 56% of those polled would rather have the laws already on the books enforced over passing new legislation. Concerning matters of race, it's clear that blacks and Hispanics are more concerned about mass shootings. Only 3% of whites said it was very likely that a close family member might be killed in a random shooting, but nearly 3 times the number of blacks and 4 times the number of blacks and 3 times the number of Hispanics felt more personally threatened at 11 and 9% respectively. But again, 53% of voters prefer to live in a community where guns are allowed. And it reminds me of Kennesaw, Georgia. I don't know if you're familiar with Kennesaw, Georgia, and I don't even know if they still do this. But back in the day, 15 years ago, they made headlines as one of the only towns in the country where you were required by law, if you lived in the city limits, you were required by law to have a gun. And they had some of the lowest crime rates in the nation. Shocker. Shocker. You know, well, should we go up to Kennesaw this weekend and break into some houses? Or should we go to the next town over? I think we go to the next town over. What do you think? I mean, I'm just saying. Just saying. But yeah, to me, this is not surprising. I think that most people in the country who aren't on the fringes, who aren't part of the rabid left or right, would all rather live in a community where the law-abiding citizens are armed. Because by definition, they're law-abiding. Right? There's always going to be bad people. There's always going to be criminals. As I said, there is this fantasy that if we could just wave a magic wand and take away all the guns, it's never going to happen. You know? Never going to happen. But at least we've got some good news that again, Americans like armed communities. It's not a huge percentage. I mean, it's 53%, which is it's interesting. But the fact that the women, sorry, boy, I just assumed there, didn't I? The women, the fact that a plurality of women want guns outlawed is just not disturbing. It's just weird. It just seems counterintuitive to me. But maybe it's because I'm a man. Maybe that's why I don't understand it, because I'm a man. And none of you ladies are calling up to tell me why I'm right or wrong. That's on you. Just saying. 319-527-3864. I figure if I challenge you, maybe somebody will call up this morning. Love to hear from you. Give us a ring. It's Firearms Friday. We're just kind of freewheeling it today. Freewheeling Friday. Almost said something else. Back with more of the Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free thinking radio.
Running on 100% pure beard power. Oh, also some coffee. We dip our beard in coffee.
Ha, nice beard.
The Michael Duke Show.
Now, just for the record, I want Brian to know that I actually didn't, somebody else asked you about the Folgers. I just read the comment. Okay. Brian wants me to meet him at dawn with pistols because he's so insulted by the fact that I asked him if he wanted to. David Boyle asked if you were drinking Folgers, and I just repeated the comment. I didn't think you would do it. I defended your honor. Brian, on the other hand, said, I shall see you in the dawn of the field of honor. Pistols at dawn. Anyway, it wasn't me. Oh, man. And then he's calling on Bill to be his second. Oh, man. I get you both. I don't even need a second. I don't even need a second. Why did the bullet end up losing his job? Because he got fired? Oh, did I get it? Is that right? I'm scrolling down. He got fired. I knew it. I could see that joke. Let's see what else we got here. Sorry, it's been a long time since I've chimed in. Maybe I'll go stir the pot on Facebook. Hey, you're doing great. You're doing great. Alaskan Bullet Point. It's no big deal. What's the joke about Folgers? Well, if you've been around here long enough, you know what we're joking about. Alberta's premier is bucking the system, telling Ottawa that they're keeping their guns. There's some interesting things happening in Canada, and I haven't been following it super closely, but every time I read something new about what's kind of going on in the political system in Canada, there's some trouble brewing there. There is some trouble, and it's very much kind of the East Coast, West Coast kind of thing, right? You got the full East Coast, and then on the West Coast, you kind of got the more liberty-minded folks. Not that they're truly liberty-minded, but you know what I mean. So Democrats are gun fluid. Yes, I think a lot of them between is gun fluid. Let's see. Fairbanks had a wonderful summertime back in the 70s. Blah, 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 blah. Emotions. I do like Kodiak. I do like Kodiak too. I loved Kodiak. I spent almost a year on Kodiak when I was younger, right out of high school. And I loved it. Worked on fishing boats, worked at the radio station there. It was amazing. It was amazing. As a woman, this is Terry. I'm going to mark this comment here so I can come back to it. As a woman, I want everyone having a gun and living in Alaska. I'm happy to know that most around me are concealed carrying. Well, good for you. Good for you. Again, that was my whole thing is as a woman, why would you'd think that they would be, vehemently in support of guns, just to be able to protect themselves. And Bill said he'd be the second, and then he redacted the statement and said, only someone that personally hurts myself or my family is my enemy. Good to know Bill's got my back. That's what I'm saying. I'm going through late. I'm like, Anthony's late. 12 lashes with a wet noodle, Anthony, for being late. Frenemy list. Crack Karen. Am I attempting to summon forth the Crack Karen? Oh my God. I just listened to that whole series, Anthony. That is one of the most hysterical things. New achievement. Anthony will know what I'm talking about. The Crack Karen. New achievement. What's the Folgers joke? The joke's on us. That's the thing. The man charged in the fatal shooting in Anchorage after youth soccer practice released from jail on house arrest. Well, we'll have to see. What happens with that. I didn't hear that. I did see that they caught the kid in Fairbanks that had been out there at that house party back in October. When I was there in October, they finally got him. So we'll see what happens there. Okay. Well, we are we're ready to go here. We're ready to jump back into it with both feet. And I've got 2 phone lines on hold. What could possibly go wrong? You guys ready to do this thing? The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free thinking radios. Real men do not drink Folgers. I would rather lick a cat's ass. I would rather drink toilet water than I'm sorry, I had to borrow soap earlier. I don't need your jar of Folgers. Thank you. All right, here we go. Common sense, liberty-based, free. I'm just free balling it today. Free ball Thursday. I almost said that on the air. Don't.
What the hell's an assault weapon? What isn't? If I assault you with a penguin, doesn't that make it an assault weapon? Does this mean that if we hurt your feelings, you'd consider the Michael Dukes Show assault radio? Okay, we can live with that. Here's Michael Dukes.
Okay, we're back. It's Friday. It's Firearms Friday. It's Christmas. It's like, that's just a recipe for holly jolliness, isn't it? It's awesome. It's amazing. Phone lines are open today, 319-527-3864, 319-527-3864, and I ask for you ladies to call up and talk about, this whole thing with the gun rights and the firearms, and why are women more averse to people having firearms when it's the one thing that can protect them from the bigger, apier species, the male half of the species, right? I mean, come on. Doesn't make any sense. Bonnie's on the phone. Maybe she's going to steer us straight here. Let's see what she has to say. Good morning, Bonnie.
Good morning.
What's going on?
Well, this is Bonnie in North Pole, and I have to tell you that I like hip jewelry.
You like hip jewelry? That has so many interpretations, Bonnie. I mean, it depends on where you put the comma, right? I like hip jewelry, or I like hip jewelry. And of course, in this day and age, you can never be too sure, but I'm assuming you're talking about firearms on the waistband, right? Not some kind
heaven
of...
heaven forbid you should be walking around with guns. It's in Safeway, I saw the other day, this man, he had his coat back, and I was commenting on his hip jewelry, and he was smiling. He said, usually nobody says anything. I said, but I have to say something, because it's so wonderful to know that somebody is smart to do those things. But I have to talk about the wonderfulness here in downtown Fairbanks. I have to say. Okay. Downtown Fairbanks, they paid all that money to tear down that wonderful building, all that money, years and years, money, tore it all down, remember?
The Polaris, yes. I remember they tore down the Polaris building.
They tore it all down. And guess what they're going to have built down there?
A parking garage.
An ice skating rink.
Oh, an ice skating rink. Okay, I thought the plan was for a parking garage, but now they're going to have a downtown...
No.
A downtown ice skating rink. Okay. I mean,
They're building an ice skating rink. And here in Fairbanks, we do have a covered
well, we got
ice skating.
There's a couple covered ice skating rinks. I mean, that's what we needed, was one more, just an ice skating rink. What are they going to do with it in the summer? I mean, are they going to chill the ice and keep ice on it all summer?
I've lived here for years and years. I always wonder who in the heck. Anyway, God bless everybody and have a wonderful Christmas. But I just thought I'd tell you that all that money spent to tear it all down and on and it took years. Everybody said how wonderful, and we are building an outside skating rink. Going to have chocolate, and it's going to be wonderful. So there you go.
Okay, thank you, Bonnie. I appreciate it. Just doesn't make it. Bye. I know for years they were talking about, getting the Polaris torn down so they could put it back on the tax rolls, so it could generate revenue. And now you're going to put a skating rink there? What? And Bonnie says she likes hip jewelry. Hip jewelry. One word. Hip jewelry. Terry in the chat room says, as a woman, I want everyone to have a gun. I want everyone having a gun and living in Alaska. I'm happy to know that most around me are concealed carry. That's great. I mean, I prefer concealed carry, but again, and not just for other people, for you as a woman. I want you to be able to defend. I want my wife, when I don't happen to be standing there, I want her to be able to defend herself. That's what I'm looking for. It's kind of crazy. Oh, it's tiny and it's temporary for the winter. The ice skating rink is tiny and it's just for this year. Okay. All right. I won't get too worked up about. Not that I don't care. I'm not really that worked up about it. Let's go back to the phones over here. Looks like Henry is on the line. Henry, what's on your mind?
Hey, good morning. I got like to put in a word for us men too about guns.
Okay.
On the Charlie Kirk show yesterday to John Rich on. It should be your team. So can I play it? I use up giving my time, and maybe people can listen to it and hear this song. Huh?
What did they say?
It's a John Rich song. Hang on.
Get my gun.
Okay, I'm not going to be playing that right now, Henry, but John Rich, gonna get my gun. Okay, we'll see if we can find that out there and track it down. But give me your thoughts on it, Henry. I can't play it on the. I don't want to play it right now. Give me your thoughts on the song.
Yeah, it's a pretty good song. I was surprised to hear it, about what's going on in Michigan, and also what's being taught in our schools and everything. But anyhow, before Christ left, when he came back, he said, from now on, if you don't have a sword, go out and buy one, for protection, because it's pretty scary what's going on. I'm glad you have Firearms Friday, and people need to know that we got to be armed,
Yeah.
No,
these
women who say they would rather be bear, they haven't been around bears who mock people, not bears.
Yeah, I love that.
Anyhow,
Yeah.
thanks, Mike, for putting that.
I appreciate it, Henry. Thank you for calling in. Yeah, no, I mean, again, I have to laugh at the whole, would you rather be stuck in the wilderness? And of course, the assumption is that you're right next to him, right? Would you rather be stuck in the wilderness as a woman with a bear or a man? And there's thousands of videos where the women are going, oh, I'd rather be with a bear. And I'm just like, well, I mean, just from a statistical standpoint, your chance of survival is much greater if you have another human being there to help with the work. And a bear is more likely to eat you than anything else. So if you're plonked down right next to a bear, I would think that you would choose a person. Oh, but men are so scary. Not nearly as scary if you're carrying a 45 Colt on your hip. I mean, you know what I mean? It just, sometimes I just doomed. I just look at society and I'm like, we're doomed. We're doomed. We're going, seriously. No, thank you. No, would you rather be in the wilderness with a man or a bear, ladies? What do you ladies think? I mean, what would you, I don't understand this whole thing, but in a way I do, because again, this has nothing to do with firearms, but in a way it does. It's divisiveness, right? They want to divide us. They want to divide us, white from black, men from women, left from right. They want to divide us at every opportunity. And this is just another viral way to divide us. That's really what that's all about. It's a viral way to show how we, oh no, we couldn't do. I would rather be with a bear and get eaten than be with a man who might help me. I mean, or might hurt you, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I just find it a little bit ridiculous in the end. Because again, if you got a 357 on your hip, probably don't have to worry too much about the man or the bear. In fact, choose the bear, shoot the bear, eat the bear. Hour 2 dead ahead. Okay. I see Fred's on the line. Fred, hang out. We'll be with you here in a minute. All right? We'll be with you here in just a minute. $250,000 bond released. That guy in Anchorage. Okay. All right. It's all good. Donna Anthony. See, talking about a woman who knows all about firearms and why ladies should be defending that Second Amendment thing. She's got a free class right now for borough residents. Free 8-hour citizens defense courses exclusively for Matsu Borough residents, December through June. I like it. Donna, why don't you call in the next hour and we can talk about it? Donna, if you're still listening, this is from 8 minutes ago. Hopefully you're still here, Donna. So you can call in after we get done with Fred at the top of the hour and we can talk about that. All right. In the summer, Anthony. Oh, man. Anthony just said, in regards to the skating rink in Fairbanks, in the summer, it'll serve as a bathing, drinking area for our meth addicts and mentally unstable homeless folks. Think bird bath, but bigger. Cole says, don't move to Massachusetts. It's a duty to retreat state. Women can't even use mace without getting arrested. Oh, okay. That's kind of crazy. Good morning. My cousin was threatened to the point of violence, and she used mace and got arrested because the abuser called the police. Well, there you go. The man or bear argument is a way for someone to both virtue signal and verify that Darwinism would work much better if we stopped interfering with it. I'm right. You know what I mean? You know, that 100% right there. But again, it's that divisiveness, right, that we were just talking about. It's just another way to show and to highlight how they want to continue to divide us, one from another, men versus women, black versus white, left versus right, Catholics versus Mormons. I don't know, whatever it is. It's really crazy. Renee says the sooner people realize that the government is trying to destroy and divide us. I mean, and it's not just it's the powers that be, it's the elites. I mean, whoever's out there pulling the strings, the Saul Alinsky's of the world. We have more in common with each other. You have more in common with a person who's down there holding a sign for a Democratic candidate than you do with anybody in Washington, D.C. If your neighbor's out there holding a sign for your political opponent, you still have more in common with that person than you do with some politician in Washington, D.C. who's supposedly on your side. Cowboys versus aliens. Thank you, Brian. That's, again, the divisiveness. Cowboys versus aliens. It's a great movie, by the way. Super fun movie. I can't wait till next week. Can't wait till the week after, because we're going to be doing all kinds of fun stuff, movies and music. And, it really sucks. I love being with you guys every morning, but it really sucks simulcasting the show on Facebook and YouTube and Rumble, because I can't do a show about my favorite music for Christmas without taking a copyright hit on the broadcast. It's crazy. I mean, it's really crazy. I want to play even just little snippets of my favorite songs. You can't. No, not for you. It's crazy. That's the only downside to the whole Facebook, YouTube, Rumble thing, that I can't use copyrighted music, even though I pay out the nose for the radio stations. I pay thousands of dollars a year to be able to play it. Can't do it. I mean, because you can't fight City Hall. You can't fight those guys. You can't say, look, I pay ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, GMR. I pay all these people money to be able to play this music. And they're like, nope. They just have no sense of humor about it. Anyway, Cowboys versus aliens. I'm all about that, my friend. Oh, look, Harold's in the chat room. Thanks for just dropping in and dropping a random comment. Not unexpected from you. Not unexpected. All right, we're continuing. It is Firearms Friday. Fred is on the line, and maybe Donna will call in and talk about this free firearms training in hour 2 as well. And we have Willie Waffle. It's gonna be good stuff. But we are coming up against it. Hour 2 is right now. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, Free Thinking Radio. We'll be back. Here we go.
Whoa, buddy. Put that thing back in its holster. We haven't gone anywhere.
I don't understand.
Check out the MichaelDukesShow.com for information on how to get access to the podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal.
The Michael Duke Show.
I have 2 guns, one for each of you.
Firearms Friday.
As Thomas Jefferson stated, it is the right and duty of the people to be at all times armed.
Say hello to my little friend.
I say that the Second Amendment is, in order of importance, the First Amendment. The right to keep and bear arms is the one right that allows rights to exist at all.
The Michael Duke Show. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Firearms.
From my cold, dead hands.
Friday.
This is my rifle, this is my gun, this is for fighting, this is for fun.
Firearms Friday.
Firearms Friday, your chance to sound off on issues of a 2A nature right here on the Michael Duke Show. Welcome to Friday, my friends. We're ready to go. We're jumping into it. Good morning to everybody. Hour 2 of the big radio show. My dad just joined us in the chat room. Good morning, Dad. Good morning, Mom. Just slept in a little bit. It's all good. We're ready for hour 2 of the big radio show, and I've got some housekeeping, but Fred has been on the line for a little bit here. He jumped in right before we went to commercial and news break at the top of the hour. So I want to check in with our buddy Fred, who's out in the big Republic of Rhode Island, the People's Republic of Rhode Island. Let's see what Fred has to say this morning on this beautiful Friday. Good morning, Fred.
Well, you hit the nail on the head there. Absolutely correct. The People's Republic of Rhode Island.
People's Republic of Rhode Island. Yes, comrade, you will show me your papers in the People's Republic of Rhode Island. What's going on out there?
Yeah, the next great cesspool of the United States is right here. This is the dumping ground right here.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, I think what's going on in regard to women and the firearms, the I would say anti-gun or the gun control aspect of the women's take on this. I think a lot of it is focus and perception. Which we've been bombarded by for years, by the media, by social aspects, and this and that, the other thing, and it's just been it's the never-ending media's perception of firearms and how dangerous they are and how they disrupt society and cause so much carnage and problems.
Right.
And it's not it at all. I mean, but this is what we're dealing. This is what you're up against.
Right. The news media tells you. Yeah, the news media tells you that if you go to a big city, it's like Mogadishu or Somalia or someplace. It's going to be horrific and death in the streets, and that's not really how it is in most places. But that's the perception, right? So they're selling the perception, and people are buying it.
Once again, it's who's pushing the buttons behind that. Well, I've been saying that all along, and I'm going to stick to it because I believe it to be absolutely correct. True as to what the real problem is, not the surface nonsense that they sit there and they try to make mountains out of molehills out of. They already got the mountain. It's those who are trying to push the narrative, and for whatever reason behind that, I think if you put 2 and 2 together, you easily come up with 4 how that works. What they're after there, but then again, I think you're starting to see some pushback on it. This whole thing in California with the. They're taking a good look at their assault weapons ban and the magazine ban, how unconstitutional that is as far as trying to side sweep the Second Amendment, and that idiot out there, Gavin Newsom, the whole thing with Glock. I mean, the guy's a moron. He won't sit there and he won't go after the problem. Those who are using these switches, he puts something. He wants to go after the manufacturer, who's not really responsible for what's going on.
Right.
But the jerk won't enforce the laws on the books, which means if you break the law with a gun, you're going upstate for a long time. But he doesn't enforce that because he's an idiot. And people, once again, you put him back in office, you get what you vote for. So I hope the best thing to happen in California is the next great earthquake. I hope it falls into the Pacific. I think we'd be better off with 49 than 49 in California, believe me.
That's a little cruel, my friend. But I mean, I definitely understand with, kind of the ridiculousness but that's always been the answer. You vilify the tool instead of holding the people accountable who are the ones that are actually doing the crime. This has been going on for years. It's always, and again, it makes no sense because it's like somebody buys a Ford truck and then mows down a bunch of people with the truck. They drive through a parade or something. Nobody's calling Ford and saying you shouldn't have sold that truck to them, right? Nobody's suing Ford.
I got one better than that. Remember, I don't know if you remember this one or not, but back in the day, they were going after the Chevy S10, and you probably remember this story. They sit there and they try to say that the way that the gas tank was unsupported or unprotected by not having enough iron around it to protect it from a broadside crash. They actually put the news media, NBC, to name them by name, they put a toy rocket motor inside the gas tank, and they had a controlled crash, a broadside crash, and detonated it and blew the truck up. And then they got caught. They got caught with their fingers in the cookie jar after they did it. But they quickly swept that under the rug. That made the news for about 20 minutes. Then they got rid of that real quick. But they got caught at it. This is how they lie, cheat, and steal.
Yeah.
Typical progressive act.
Well,
lie, cheat, steal.
You should be questioning everything, Fred. I mean, when you watch something on the news today, the mainstream media, you should be questioning everything. That's all I'm saying. When I watch a news story, first thing I do is I question the veracity of it, and you should be checking everything you can. That's where we're at. Final thoughts for us today, Fred.
Well, the good news is even today, you see this thing with the kids in school today in public government schools. They're starting to question. A lot of it's starting to question the rhetoric and the agenda of the government program, as far as like socialism and DEI,
right.
all the socialist crap that they've been sitting there shoving down their throats for years. A lot of people a lot of children in schools are actually questioning it, and they're getting a lot of pushback, which is, I think, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Somebody actually opened their eyes and actually seeing the world for what it really is. And I think this is going to be our salvation. More people have got to step up, call it out for what it is: lies, and more lies. And eventually they're going to run away, or there's going to be one hell of a confrontation once and for all, and we're going to set the world straight.
Yep. All right. Well, Fred, thank you so much. I hope you have a Merry Christmas if I don't talk to you between now and then. But you're always welcome to call in, and thanks for joining us today, Fred, here on Firearms Friday. We appreciate you. All right, we got another caller here on the line. We got another couple of callers. I see Donna's down there as well. But let's go over to this other caller first. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. It's the Bunny Lady. Really quick. Yes,
okay.
Women wear guns out here in Alaska unless you want to be on the menu. And number 2, Sladana Ammo has 25. If you have a 25 gun, they have ammo.
Oh, 25 caliber.
It's very hard to find.
25 caliber. Okay. And
yes, sir.
And you were saying ladies should carry guns in Alaska, but shouldn't women be one of the most strident defenders of the right to keep and bear arms, just simply because it's a great equalizer? I mean, not just in Alaska, but pretty much anywhere.
I try to avoid the anywhere else's but Alaska.
Why?
Right?
Why? I'm just asking.
I don't want to leave Alaska.
Well,
I've been out there. I don't like it.
You don't.
Home.
I'm not saying you have to leave Alaska. I'm saying, shouldn't, in your mind, if you look at this, again, rationally and as a thought experiment, shouldn't women be some of the most strident defenders of the Second Amendment because it gives them the ability to protect themselves and fight back and to equalize? Shouldn't them, just as a thought experiment, I'm not saying you have to leave Alaska, but shouldn't they be some of the most strident supporters of that?
Well, now that you put it in a thought experiment way, yes, darling, I'm always armed. It doesn't matter where I am. 98% of the time, I've either got a gun, a shotgun, or a knife.
Right. Well,
all right. They all come in very handy in the world.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I mean, I think in Alaska especially, it makes sense, and especially if you spend any time outdoors. But I think anywhere.
I live outdoors.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm off grid.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, thank you for
In fact, I'm freezing. I have to stand on the porch to talk to you.
Oh, okay.
So have a lovely day. I'm going inside.
Go inside. Enjoy yourself. Thank you so much. All right. Our friend Donna Anthony from the Matsu is on the line, and she's got a big announcement to make here for the Matsu. Let's get Donna up here. Good morning, Donna. How are you?
Good morning, Michael. How are you?
You know, just another beautiful day in paradise. We get to talk about some of our favorite topics today. Congratulations, by the way. I heard that you lost your mind and decided to run for office.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Just send me prayers, brother. Just send me some prayers.
Yeah, it's thoughts and prayers to you all the time. But aside from the political stuff today, you've got you posted it up in the chat room, some free firearms training for citizens. Tell me what's going on out there in the Matsu.
Yeah, so I don't know if you saw when the borough said they were going to start paying for free firearms classes for the Matsu borough because of the lack of law enforcement. So this will be the second year we put in the bid for it, and we won it. So starting December 15th until the end of June, we'll be teaching between 300 and 350. That's part of the grant. An 8-hour free firearms class. You don't have to have your own weapon. We supply the ammunition. This is part of that grant. They want people just to be able to walk in and learn. I think it's great. Do I think government should spend money on that? No. I mean, but it's good for my business, right? I mean, it's not government's role to do that. I think it should be in the schools in the first place. We should have been doing this a long time ago.
Right.
But yeah, so it's going to be great. We posted it, I think, within the first 24 hours. Already the classes.
Uh-oh. We lost Donna there.
ID because this is a borough contract. You show your ID when you come in. Of course, we'll get some stats so we got them back into the borough. But hey, free 8 hours of training, a little pew therapy. Come join us.
Yeah, and these courses are all taught by NRA certified instructors and current and former law enforcement, so that you're getting the real deal. 8 hours worth of courses and classes and shooting time. And how is it geared towards? It's not geared towards like concealed carry. This is citizen self-defense, right?
Yeah. So it's only 8 hours. So I put the lesson plan together to give as much as we can on one. Just if you're a new shooter or not a new shooter, this will work for both. So when you're coming in, we're going to touch on really situation awareness. I mean, if you don't have situation awareness, you shouldn't be carrying a gun in the first place. But we're going to talk about that. Having situational awareness. We'll go into, the fundamentals of firearms. Then we'll go into some Alaska gun laws, which isn't the full 2 hours, but enough to at least kind of think about it if you want to continue your training, which we hope you don't just take one class, eventually you'll take more classes. We also have the shooting simulator. Then we also have the shoot house. It's the only 1,200 foot square shoot house scenario-based training. So we have all the force-on-force equipment. We'll do scenarios like if you're at home, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, it's dark, and we'll have somebody break in. We have all the gear on you. What do you do? If you have kids, what do you do? Do you have a safe room? Do you have a plan?
Right.
So this is a journey of the firearms training, right?
This is great. I'm excited. And I didn't realize that the borough was actually picking up the tab for this, but it makes sense. I saw the article the other day talking about law enforcement in the Matsu and how they have one of the largest populations and they have the lowest police coverage with the troopers of any of the other major communities in the state. And it's like, okay, so what do you do? I mean, when I lived in Wasilla and I lived out on Kinnick Bay, I mean, the police were 30 minutes away. Easily 30 minutes away at any given time.
It's actually longer out here sometimes. And so, and you get into a situation, I'm law enforcement, that first 3-5 minutes, that's so critical. What are you going to do and how are you going to handle it? And if you don't have law enforcement showing up 30 to 60 minutes, if that's your situation and you're a little more remote out, how do you handle this situation? What are the laws? What can and can't you do?
Yeah.
So those are the things we go over.
No. And like you said, it's not like the government should be paying for it, but at least they're trying to take care of the citizens when the state's not ponying up for. I mean, that's one of the things that's in the Constitution is law enforcement, right? I mean, that's one of the things that's one of the things we can all agree that government should pay for is law enforcement. And if they're not going to step up to the plate, well, at least 300 to 350 members of the public there in the Matsu can get it done. So that's going to be great. Where do they go if they want to get signed up for those courses?
Yeah, you can just go to pointblank.ak.com, and I'm sure they're going to be full by this weekend. So if you want a free class and you're in the Matsu Borough, I'd get on as soon as possible and get what's left.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Donna, before you go, I mean, we want to have you back on the program to talk about your run for office and all that. We'll do that here in the future. But let's go back to my question here earlier, because again, we were looking at this survey, this new poll that came out last month. It was talking about how Americans by 53% would prefer to live in an armed community. But then when you broke it down by gender, men were 2-1 in favor, but women were like 50-50. 44% said they didn't want to live in a community with guns. 43% said they did. And I've never understood this as a woman. And I know it's a little skewed because you're in law enforcement and everything else, but as a woman, why? I've never understood this. Why are women not the most vocal defenders of the Second Amendment? Because they gives them the chance to have the greatest chance to equalize themselves against the big predator, men, right? I mean, why are women not? Why do you think that is?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And the reason why I would know this is because I have women victims that take my classes, and every time we find out, why are you here? Well, somebody broke in my house. I thought my husband could protect me. I mean, I'll tell you a story in Wasilla that happened. You've got a guy that's breaking in the house. She doesn't like guns. The husband's got guns. And she said, I always thought he'd always be able to protect me. Women think men will always protect them. But in this situation, the husband's hands-on with the bad guy, and he's yelling, go get the gun. And imagine her running up the stairs, grabbing the gun by the side of the bed and grabbing it, not properly, and running down the stairs with a gun. And she realized she couldn't even protect her own husband. But that's a false sense that we think, okay, my husband's always going to protect me. He might be the one that needs help because he got attacked from behind or something else. But women have that false sense of my husband's always going to protect me. I don't need guns. I don't like them. So that's a lot of what I see right now.
Well, and I think it's even, but the single women, that's what gets me is single women who are like, I mean, if you lived alone and you had a firearm, at least you'd have a way to protect yourself. But a lot of these vocal anti-gunners are ladies who are like, we just don't need them. It's like they live in a fantasy world where if she just wishes it away, the guns won't be there. But women should be the most strident defenders of the Second Amendment.
It is it's your equalizer, right? Because there's no way that, you're going to go up with a big guy and your gun is your equalizer, as long as you know the laws and your rights to use so. But we've got women that'll come from Anchorage and they'll take a class and like, I don't want my friends to know I have a gun. I mean, it's that mentality. They're like, don't let my friends know I have a gun. We have to change that.
Yeah, no, we have to.
It's your Second Amendment. It's yours.
Yeah. It's yours. You should be able to defend yourself. And if you want to truly be independent, an independent woman, you want to be equal. That is one way to be able to do it, to be able to defend yourself, to know that you won't be prey. That's the bottom line. And I hope that more ladies get involved, and I hope more ladies come to realize that. So, all right, well, Donna, hopefully we get your classes will get all filled up, and then we'll visit with you again here soon as we talk about what you're doing for office and all that other stuff. Thanks for calling in this morning. We really appreciate it.
Good. Thanks, Mike. And just so you know, if anyone's driving into Anchorage, the trapic's really bad.
Okay. All right. Well, Merry Christmas, Donna.
Merry Christmas.
We'll talk to you. We'll talk to you soon. All right. That's us. That's the break. We're up against it. So here we go. We're going to come back. We got one more segment dead ahead. Then we got Willie Waffle coming up. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. If you're a lady, tell me, I mean, again, why aren't more ladies defending the Second Amendment? I really want to know. If you are one that doesn't believe, I really want to talk with you. I want to know why. 319-527-3864, The Michael Duke Show.
We're broadcasting live through a series of tubes.
Allowing all of these entities to provide streaming stuff going on the internet.
Well, it's kind of hard to explain. Sorry. Streaming live every weekday morning on Facebook Live and MichaelDukesShow.com.
Okay. La 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 la. Let's go up here. See what you guys have been saying. Somebody just cinnamon schnapps. What? Oh, I see. Rick said, Lisa said she's having the coffee tastes weird, and but she needs it. Ever since she's been sick, the coffee tastes weird. I said just hold your nose and drink it. She said she needs the coffee. Rick says cinnamon schnapps. That'll fix it. I mean, there's not much that cinnamon schnapps won't fix at that point. Okay. Let's see. Good morning. Anthony said this is the same media that's hawking the ideology that gays for Palestine isn't an insane concept at its core. So probably you should file that info away in the yeah right drawer. I mean, exactly. This is the same kind of thing. Ladies who are not defenders of the Second Amendment, the same kind of thing about, again, gays for Palestine, which again, they'd be pitched off the highest building at that point. I mean, they don't understand. It just, it's crazy. Name calling never got much traction in serious political discourse. And yet you do it all the time. What are you trying to say? Are you speaking about yourself here or what's going on? Did they stop making spearmint schnapps? I could not find it. I don't know. I know they make peppermint. I don't know about spearmint. I don't know. Make Death Valley a deepwater port again. Wow. Okay. Good morning. Richie says, ask Fred if he remembers the media going after the Ford Pinto as well. I remember that. When he was talking about the S10, I was like, man, remember the Pinto? That was the other one, David Nelson, God created man. Samuel Colt made them equal. Yeah, men and women. God created man and woman. He made them all equal. Yeah. Let's see. CM says that the Matsu paying for those classes, he says the borough is trying to take care of their community. Very respectful. No, I mean, I would not be against that, especially since, again, I know that we had the cops get called out to our community, not to me personally, but to one of my neighbors. And it was like 37 minutes before they showed up. 37. You know how much stuff can happen in 30? You know how much stuff can happen in 3 minutes, let alone 37 minutes. It's crazy. Anthony said, my job is to throw my body into danger to buy my wife and family time. Hopefully, I've trained enough that I win. But if not, I've at least bought my wife time to get armed and finish the battle. Yeah, no, that's exactly it. Tawny says the reason ladies are not are not defending it, Second Amendment, is she says because they're brainwashed in school that guns are bad. And until you get some truth and proper experience, they don't realize how wrong their perception has been. Donna Anthony's classes are awesome. She says that from personal experience. Yeah. Lisa says sometimes for women, they have to have an incident to want to care. I think it's delusion. And I'm not trying to say that in a negative way, but I'm just thinking they live in this fantasy world that it'll never happen to me. It'll all be good. If we could just get rid of all the guns. That's the kind of fantastical, delusional thing that they're having, where they're just, if we could just get rid of the... You can't. You're not going to get rid of all the guns. Bad people are going to do bad things. You just have to acknowledge that. That's the thing. And many women, but I think men too, many people just believe it won't happen to them. That's what CM just said. But I don't think it's just women. I think women predominantly believe it just won't happen to them. You can't live in this it'll never happen to me mentality. But you don't want to dwell there either. You don't want to dwell. Let's get into that. I'm 5 seconds out here. Let's get into this because I think this is an important point to make.
What the hell's an assault weapon?
If we could just figure out how to get all of the murder guns and the attack guns and not keep selling those to people and just sell protection guns, I think that would be great and solve a lot of problems.
Does this mean that if we hurt your feelings, you'd consider the Michael Dukes Show assault radio? Okay, we can live with that. Here's Michael Dukes.
So, some interesting comments in the chat room here on Firearms Friday. Oh, housekeeping. I forgot to do the housekeeping. Let me do that real quick. A reminder, the show will be on hiatus from the 22nd of December and will be returning to the airwaves on Monday, January the 5th. Okay? So we're going to be on hiatus for that whole time. You'll have alternate programming for that period of time. Just wanted to let you know that. For the 22nd of December onward. We won't be on the air starting the 22nd. What else? Recipe contest will be up on Monday. We can do holiday recipes. We've got the Muppet movie, Muppet Christmas Carol going on down here on the Lower Peninsula. If you'd like to win tickets, we'll be giving away tickets to that not next week, but the week after. And more. We've got the radio station sponsoring that and everything else. So that's it. Oh, and on Monday, we're going to be joined by Donna Ardwin and Joe Geldhoff on Monday. So that's Monday's show. Okay. Housekeeping over. Comments from the chat room talking again about this whole idea about women being stalwart defenders of the Second Amendment. Why aren't they? Why aren't women the most vocal defenders of the Second Amendment? And some interesting comments in the chat room. And one of the comments from Tawny says, because they are brainwashed in school that guns are bad, and until you get some truth and proper experience, they don't realize how wrong their perception has been. Lisa says sometimes for women, they have to have an incident to want to carry. And I think Lisa's kind of dinging in on kind of part of the, I think that most people, but I think especially women are like, this will never happen to me. This will never, I will never be attacked. I will never be a victim. But the statistics show that, 1 in 4 women are victimized by the time they're adults. I mean, in one way, shape, or form. And this idea that somehow they will be protected is a real problem. Donna, the woman that Donna was talking about, who said that, I always thought my husband was going to protect me, but he was the one that ended up getting into a scuffle with the bad guy that broke into the house and couldn't get to the gun. He was holding the bad guy off. And so she had to run up and get the gun, but didn't know how to use it because she was relying on him to protect her. He was protecting her, just not in the way that she thought. And that's the thing. We're all running around in a bit of this bubble of, oh, that'll never happen to us. That'll never happen to us. That'll never happen to me. We've got a whole lot of that going on in the country at a variety of levels, right? Whether it's fiscal reality or anything else, but especially in the crime area, oh, that'll never happen to us. Now, I'm not saying, and here's the difference, I think, between men and women, because men are in a broad brush, I don't want to say this is everyone, but men generally are more analytical. Women are more driven by emotion, right? And so if there's a problem like, oh, we might be attacked or we might be a victim. As a man, I go, okay, so I might be a victim. How do I solve that? Okay, I get a firearm, I get training, I know how to use it, and now I'm prepared. And now I don't worry about becoming a victim, because I know that I've taken the steps to prepare, where women might be circle thinking it, right? They get it, I might be a victim, and then I might be a victim, and then I might be a victim. Even if they get a gun and they get training, I might be a victim. You can't get to you can't get too hyper focused on it. You think of the problem, you find the solution, then you move on. That's what you need to do. Now, it doesn't mean that you won't still be a victim. There's been plenty of people out there who've gotten training, done a thing, self-defense, jujitsu, guns, whatever, and they still end up being a victim because sometimes circumstances are just against you. But you can't spend your whole life baked in a squat being worried about it. Get the training you need, get what you need to have done, and then move on. But I think Tawny's probably right. We've got a whole society where they've been told that guns themselves are bad. That if you want a gun, you're bad. That was Donna saying, to the to that other to one of her students where they were saying, don't tell my friends I've got a gun. Don't tell my friends I've got a gun. Why? Well, because guns are bad, right? No, guns are a tool. Why should you feel bad about wanting to be able to protect yourself? Guns are not bad. They're neutral. People are good or bad. That's what we need to be focused on here. We need to be focused on the people aspect of it. But again, once you've made the decision, once you've gotten the training, once you've armed yourself, again, it's not a mystical laser shield. You've got to get the training and do everything else. But then you'll have a chance. That's what we need to do. The Michael Duke Show, Common Sense Radio.
Streaming live every weekday morning on Facebook Live and MichaelDukesShow.com.
Okay. We were up against the hard break there. Let's go over here, see what else you guys have been saying. CM says, sadly, many women have anxiety towards the power of the firearm, and that's a learned behavior. You know who doesn't have anxiety towards the power of a firearm? A woman who's been exposed to it or a man who's been exposed to it for most of their adult life and realize that it's just a tool like any other. Now, I've taught classes. I was an NRA certified instructor. I've had a class where a woman literally broke down when she was asked to pick up the empty revolver that was obviously empty, cylinder out, the whole thing, and just burst into tears because she was terrified of it. Learned behavior because she's been told that this is just dangerous. They just go off by themselves, right? Lisa said, everyone has the right to protect themselves, but some are not educated about guns, so they are scared of them. Just what I was talking about. My dad's 85, and he and the boys did guns, but didn't include us girls. Everybody should be learning. Everybody should be learning. Let's see. Hence, face the fear of how firearms works, the mechanics, how to proper handle it, grip, stance, practice. This is why an organized course by a certified instructor is important. Best classes through PV. Yeah, no, I agree. That's why we've always said the rule of three. What's the rule of three again? The rule of three is if you're going to go forth armed, that you expect to spend 3 times the cost of your firearm to get ready. So if it's $500 for the firearm, you spend $500 on the firearm, you spend $500 on good quality accessories, a good holster, extra magazines, cleaning kits, snap caps, dummy rounds, maybe one of those fancy cell phone, dry fire target practice things, whatever, $500. And then you spend $500, the third $500 tranche gets spent on actual training courses. We've always said that on this program. That's the important part. Lisa says, yes, and more. I'm a survivor. That's why I learned. No one taught me before to protect myself. It was after the incident. Well, good for you. Good for you that you at least took it into your own hands and taught yourself. Let's see. Maybe less people would try if they knew we were all armed and not a damsel in distress. Yeah. No, I mean, that's it. That's exactly. I had a buddy that taught his wife to shoot, and as he said, if she ever gets mad enough to shoot me, I don't want her to turn me into a vegetable. Okay. Well, that's what, but ladies, ladies are actually mostly very good shots because they have not learned all the bad habits and they're not mostly macho about it. So ladies, in my experience, are generally speaking very good shots. Let's see. Maybe if they just make a sign or wear a t-shirt or make a donation, it will ward off evil. Virtue signaling as a self-defense mechanism. Is that what you're trying to say, Brian? Is that what you're trying to say? All right, let me shut the phones off here because we're going to get down. We're going to get down with Willie here in just a second. And get things rolling. Yeah, maybe if we just wear a t-shirt, that'll do it. Debbie says, I do not feel like I have anxiety towards firearm. Having a minimum knowledge from growing up around brothers with squirrel hunting in Minnesota, then joining the Guard and having to qualify with an M16 in the 80s. I barely use practice any longer. This is sad. I really need to retrain. I wish they had the classes up here that they have in the Matsu. And you could still do it on your own, and you could still do a lot of dry fire training. But I don't think, again, it's not every woman, Debbie. I'm not saying it's every woman, but there is a big tranche of ladies out there who are, they are they're the ones that have the most anxiety, two to the chest, one to the head. That's the rule. That's a different rule of three, Brian. Little Mozambique drill. That's a other rule of three. Most women can't learn from their spouse. It's a communication issue. Yeah, no, I was not good at trying to teach Terry how to shoot. We ended up going to classes so that she could learn. And she was pretty good by the time it was all done. Yeah. If you were a woman on Bonanza, the quickest way to die was to fall in love with a car ride. That's the most dangerous position you can be in right there. Fall in love with a cart ride. All them boys died single and alone. Too dangerous to be there. All right, my phone's buzzing. It's time to go. The Michael Duke Show. Okay, we're ready to go. Willie Waffle, wafflemovies.com. The weekend never starts until you have some Willie in your life. Take that as you want. Anyway, Willie Waffle. Hello, my friend. How are you?
Well, I'm feeling fine. I say speak for yourself about being ready to go, okay? I'm mostly ready to go. In my life, I am in a perpetual state of, let's just see what happens.
Yeah, well, maybe we're ready. Maybe it's okay. Good.
Yeah.
All right. So entertainment and movies and everything else. What do we got? Hit me with it here. Where we're starting off with ScarJo. ScarJo.
Yes.
You've made it when you've got your own nickname, acronym / whatever. Scarlett Johansson. What do we got?
Oh, yeah. You also know you've made it when you are the top grossing box office star of all time.
Whoa.
Literally, her movies have made more money than anybody else ever in movies.
Wow.
And it's about to get even bigger.
Okay.
Scarlett Johansson is allegedly in negotiations to appear in the Batman 2.
Wow, she's jumping from Marvel over to the shh, don't tell anybody.
Well, and that's the amazing thing to me. She's been in all those Marvel movies. Now she's got the Jurassic Park movie. Now she's going to have DC as well. Is there any work for anybody else? Is it all just going to Scarlett Johansson? Because it feels like it is.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, I would have expected Tom Cruise to be the top, like the top billing because he's been it, but I guess not. I guess when you're in Marvel, that kind of ups your game a bit.
It does up the game a little bit, and the time period. These things are not adjusted for inflation. So I think if you looked at Tom Cruise's history and all those massive hits he had in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s, if you adjust it for inflation, I bet he'd be on top. I just got a feeling.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. But, she's a great actress. She's done some great kind of offbeat movies, which maybe a lot of people haven't seen. Lucy was great. Ghost in the Shell was good for those who really like that anime. She did a live action version of that. What else did she?
I always loved Her.
Her,
I thought was a great movie.
That's a great movie as well. She's done some really cool kind of sci-fi, more fringy movies that I thought she's done very well in, and I've always enjoyed her acting. I thought she was underutilized in the Marvel universe as Black Widow, but it is what it is. And but good for her being and of course she's the one that took Disney to the mats and won in that thing as well.
And won.
Yeah. So she's really I would say overall she sounds like she's been doing a pretty good job overall.
Yeah, she's doing fine, and we don't know what role she's going to play. All we know is the movie's coming out in October 2027, and we'll find out then.
Okay. All right. Well, we're all about that. Okay. So ScarJo in the history books, good on her. It's all good. But we're coming up on that season, that Stranger season. Everything is turning up Stranger Things lately. And there's some big news here going on. What's happening?
Yeah, Stranger Things has been dominating all of your streaming news, all of your entertainment news, because of course the final season, we saw the first 4 episodes came out on Thanksgiving Day. We're going to have more episodes on Christmas Day, and then the big finale, the last Stranger Things episode ever, will be on New Year's Eve at 8 p.m. And now Netflix says, hey, you want to see it in the movies with us?
What?
Come on down to your local theater. That's right. You can see the Stranger. Well, you had to act fast. The tickets are gone pretty quick. I'm not going to lie. I looked and I was like, wow, there are not a lot of tickets left. Yes, the final episode of Stranger Things, you can see it on Netflix in the comfort of your home or your friend's home on December 31st, or you can go to a movie theater that's going to play in over 500 theaters. And here's the catch. This is what makes it interesting to me. You're not actually buying a ticket to see Stranger Things. You are buying a concession voucher with a reserved seat attached.
So I'm buying my popcorn early. I'm buying my popcorn and my drinks early, essentially. That means the theater owners are getting all the money.
And that's why they agreed to it. And so this kind of brings things full circle, right? So earlier in the month, Netflix was pushing that you could see the new Knives Out 3 movie, Wake Up Dead Man, which is going to be on Netflix next week. Well, they released it in some theaters during Thanksgiving weekend and and this week, and it did horribly in the theaters. And it did horribly because none of the major theater groups wanted to carry the movie and did not. So like you didn't get it at AMC, you didn't get it at Regal, you didn't get it at the big ones. And the theater owners said, hey, listen, we don't want to take a chance on filling a movie theater that we could sell tickets for with a movie that we think a lot of people are just going to wait a few weeks to see on Netflix. But they changed their tune on this one because, like you said, they're getting all the money in this case. What Netflix is using this as more of a promotion, as more of a community building event, right? You're going to get $20. You're going to go to your concession stand, get all the popcorn and candy and soda you can get for $20. And of course, the theater owners are banking on the fact that you'll probably spend a little bit on top of that. You get your seat in the theater with all your friends, and you see the movie on the big screen. And I think it's further proof that, some people want to see stuff in the theaters.
Right.
Some people want to see it on streaming. And I don't think it's as dangerous to use both venues. I really don't. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Freddy movie in a few minutes, which actually did a streaming and theater release and did financially fantastic a few years ago. So I don't know if this is going to change the minds of theater owners. I don't know if maybe this is going to change the minds of the streaming companies and saying, hey, maybe we could do something like this too and generate some buzz.
Well, I mean, it's good for them, and especially, you know, that they get the money, and Netflix is willing to just say, use our name, use our big movie, bring everybody in. But 500 theaters, you know, what is that? One theater in Alaska, maybe two in Alaska that's going to see
Yeah, I
it.
think something like that. Yeah, it's not playing near me. Like I looked, it's not playing within 75 miles of where I live.
Oh, geez.
But at the places where I found that it was playing, you know, they're going to do it like on New Year's Eve and also New Year's Day. Now, I looked. Those 8 o'clock shows were almost all picked over. Like you had trouble finding tickets like 12 hours later. And then I will also testify, I was trying to buy tickets on the AMC app the morning they made the announcement, and it slowed down the app to the point where I got a little message that said, "You're in line. Just wait a few minutes."
Jeez, man. That's brutal. All right. Well, it'll be fun, but the good news is also it'll be on the stream. So if it's not in a community near you, it's on the stream, and you can spend your New Year's Day or New Year's Eve watching Stranger Things, right?
Oh, I will probably be watching it New Year's Eve. I'm into it. I saw all 4 episodes last weekend. I'm primed. I'm ready to go. I want to see how this grand adventure ends.
Okay, well, that's good. I haven't watched a thing because, well, you know how I am. I'm like, you can't tell me what to do. You've only given me 4 episodes. Screw you. I want them all there. I will probably binge the whole thing New Year's Eve or something like that. All right, so
right, exactly.
But I am alone in that because they had huge numbers over the Thanksgiving holiday, right? Give me the details here.
With only 4 episodes, Stranger Things Season 5 scored the second biggest Netflix opening ever, only to be topped by Squid Game 2, which I think had like 8 or 9 episodes and was watched more internationally than Stranger Things. But Stranger Things, with just its first 4 episodes, over the first 5 days on Netflix, they had 59.6 million views. Now, Netflix defines this as the total viewing hours divided by the total running time.
Right. So 4 hours or 5 hours divided by the Well, that's but that also means that it actually, on a per view basis or per hour basis, did more than Squid Games, because that only came in at what? 68 million with 8 or 9 episodes. So
68 million with that. Yep.
So they actually did more as a per hour viewing, which means people are eating this stuff up.
Oh, there. And, you know, last week, the big story about Stranger Things was, for the first time in Netflix history, all 4 of the previous seasons were in the top 10 on Netflix.
Wow.
Because people were trying to catch up and remember what was going on, so that when they watched it on Thanksgiving, they would remember what was happening.
Exactly. Because, I mean, so much happened. I mean, I feel like I need to at least go back and watch the last season before I watch the new season, because otherwise I'll be like, what? I can't even remember my name from last week, let alone what happened like a year ago, right? Year and a half. It was.
No! It aired. The last season aired in 2022.
Oh, jeez.
Because you had the strike, you had COVID, you had a lot of things going on that delayed this until this year.
All right. Well, big news again. New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. It's going to be a lot of good TV watching at that point. All right, let's move over to the streams and the movies. Give it to me in your order. We got about 5 minutes here.
5 minutes? Okay, let's get rid of Five Nights at Freddy's Part 2.
Uh-oh.
Oh, dear God. Okay, like, I could try to describe the plot to you, but I love you guys too much. I do not want you to feel the mental anguish that I felt trying to figure out what is the story here. And it turns out the truth is the story doesn't matter. Everything is just a setup to see the animated figures from Freddy's, which is like the Temu Chuck E. Cheese, to see them murder people who are going into the restaurant. That's literally the whole point of the movie. Everything that happens in between is just an excuse to introduce another character that's going to get killed, to introduce another group of people that are going to get killed. None of this matters. I'm at half a waffle.
Oh.
I don't think it's very good.
Oh.
I don't like the dialogue. I don't like the action.
Oh.
I don't like the characters. I don't like the acting. I only give it half a waffle because I giggled a little bit because, you know, these are big animatronic, figures murdering people,
Yeah,
which sometimes can be kind of funny.
The big animatronic teddy bear that's murdering people. I mean, they're
Yeah.
betting this whole thing on the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, which is a video game, which is hugely popular among Gen Z and millennials, and so they're just kind of betting on that. The first movie was so. I watched it with my kids because they really wanted to see it. This, again, not surprising that it's mediocre at best.
Yeah, I mean, they popped this thing out because they're like, oh my gosh, we made a lot of money on that first movie.
Yeah.
And the first movie did extremely well. I mean, I won't deny the fact that there are a lot of people who are probably going to go see this.
Right.
And again, I will stress it opened in streaming as well as in theaters and still made a ton of money.
All right. Well, what we move on to next then?
I think it's time to talk about Oh, What Fun, the new Amazon Prime movie with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Wow, I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah,
what's going on?
There's a reason after this movie. I'm telling you. So it's trying so hard and so desperately to be like a Christmas holiday classic. It's
Okay.
even stealing from other classics. Like you can see when they're stealing from Home Alone. You can see when they're stealing from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And you're going, man, those were a lot better movies. And so here Michelle Pfeiffer is like this unappreciated mom. She goes all out for Christmas every year, but now she's been slighted. So at Christmas Eve, she decides to hop in the car and go off on an adventure. She's going to go see her favorite show, her favorite program, hosted by an Oprah Winfrey-like host played by Eva Longoria. And of course, wacky comedy will ensue. But it doesn't. I mean, it wants to try to find some redemption, some sort of heart, but it tries too late. It tries to be kind of wacky comedy with silly dialogue, but it's not very funny. You've got the overly familiar stories that they don't really hit.
Yeah.
And I think that the biggest problem is her as her character doesn't seem to be doing all these things to make Christmas great for the love of the family. It's almost like it's more of a competitive thing for her.
Okay.
And so you don't feel for her that much. So I'm at 1.5 waffles for Oh, What Fun.
Oh, what fun. All right. That leaves us to the new George Clooney flick on Netflix, Jay Kelly.
This is the one you want to go see. Or actually, you're going to see it on Netflix. It's on Netflix right now. George Clooney is playing a movie star. And this is going to sound familiar as well, who's confronting his past. He's a legend. Everybody loves him, but now he's starting to realize what has he lost as he, pursued his career. And he's traveling around with his dedicated manager, the man who steals the movie, the man who I hope gets an Oscar nomination, Adam Sandler.
Oh, he's the manager? Oh, Lord. I could see.
He's the manager. And
go ahead.
It's fantastic. I mean, it's a great story. Adam Sandler steals the whole movie as he starts to realize he has dedicated his entire life to this dude, and this dude doesn't think half of what Sandler thinks of him, and it's hurting him, and it brings him so much pain, and we see him struggling with that as Clooney's struggling with trying to be a better man and a better father. I'm at 3.5 waffles. I really like this movie.
Wow. Okay. Jay Kelly on Netflix, the new George Clooney joint. Okay. All right. Well, we love it. All right, my friend. Well, I hope you have a great weekend, and we will see you next week. Only 2 more visits before Christmas. I can't wait.
Santa's going to be bringing some presents, I believe.
There you go. Folks, we're out of time. We will see you Monday. Be kind. Love one another. Live well. I mean, I just don't think of George Clooney and Adam Sandler in the same movie. That just seems so odd. But
it really does. But
is it dramatic or is it more comedic? I mean, what's the?
It's a little bit of both. It really is kind of one of those funny movies with a heart and with a point and with a tragic story kind of in the middle of it. And I didn't know this, but I guess they're actually friends in real life.
Oh wow!
And they just never have had a chance to work together.
Okay.
So
okay,
it is kind of like this poignant movie that has its absurdities and has its comedy in there. Clooney, the way he conducts himself with the crowd, turning on the megawatt smile and trying to look like he's a regular man when he's about as far from being a regular man as you could be. There's a lot of jokes there. There's a lot of jokes in the situations that he gets in the middle of that Adam Sandler as his manager is trying to smooth over. Laura Dern playing his publicist, who's kind of sick of cleaning up all of his messes too.
Oh man.
So you've got a lot of that, and then you also, Clooney, I think, does a really nice job, playing this guy who now is going, gee, I thought I had everything I ever wanted, but now, like, my kids hate me, and I don't have a good relationship with them, and what can I do to make it better? And of course, he does all the wrong things to make it better.
Of course he does. Of course he does. Is this a Christmas movie, or is this kind of just an anytime movie?
It's an anytime movie. I think they released it around this time because this is a movie that screams Oscar bait, right?
Okay.
Oh, it's about a famous actor playing a famous actor who is looking back on his life, and I think that it's probably if anybody's going to come out of this with a little bit of a nomination, I really hope it's Adam Sandler. I just think he really earned it. I think he was great.
He does he's only played a dramatic role a couple times, but when he does, he can nail it. He really can. And
he's really good.
If you give him a chance at humor on top of that, it gets better from there. All right.
Yeah, and it's it's not like his typical Adam Sandler humor. It's very well written dialogue humor.
Good. It's not pool boy humor. It's something else. All right.
No, that's a good way to put it.
That's good. All right. Well, Willie, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you, my friend. We'll talk to you next week.
Talk to you next week.
All right, folks. For reals this time. I got to go. We'll see you. Be kind. Love one another. Live well.
We've shed our terrestrial radio skin, and now we are slimy lizard internet people. It's the Michael Duke Show.